last series where Gemini was able to steal out a few objectives. Taking a look at runes, nothing too surprising. Gemini is one of those arcane comet enjoyers. I know we saw yesterday, I believe it was Schernfire playing the Zyra and going for Electrocute. So,
yeah, seen Conqueror as well.
Or maybe he went Conqueror. I can't remember. Anyway, there is seems to be differing opinions on what keystone and what to go here on the Zyra. I think, having sorcery anywhere in your runes is good because you get access to water walking, and with that, get a little bit more uptime across the map. Marco has to be careful here. As to no one's surprise, Ashe is trying to do silly buggers level 1.
Yeah, always so strong level 1 on the Ashe. Won't be an invade into Zyra's jungle, which is usually what you see. It's going to mean that Gemini gets a very quick first clear here that Kevy is not going to be able to match on the Diana. Quick clear on the Diana too.
Yeah, I think legitimately, Diana might just be one of the only champs that are likely worse level 1 than the Zyra.
Yeah, that's true.
Because all you are going to have is 1 Q and then auto attacks. As well as Gwen versus Cassante level 1. I know who I'm favoring.
Yeah.
Almost irregardless of what spell they take. Can be the E, can be the Q. Probably will be the Q up against Cassante. Interestingly, Jiang also going for the Flash. We've seen Ghost, we've seen Ignite.
Yeah, the tension in the spot lane. Frank are completely sacrificing level 1 prio, as you kind of expect against an Ashe. And so this game, I don't think the play for Team Bliss should be around the top lane at all. I think they should just leave Biopanther to survive in that lane, as Cassante does so well. And they should just be trading as hard as they can with this Leona Ashe, because any stretch of time where this Jhin does not have cleanse against this combo is going to be horrifying for Wako to play. Especially with the Diana, who can so easily get on top of him.
Yeah, now Hawkshot will spot out exactly where Gemini is, but the problem is he is a good 20 seconds ahead on his clear, being that he is the Zyra. So we'll be down to this bot side to make sure this massive wave doesn't lead to a dive.
Yeah, and Kevy just cannot clear it even remotely as quickly as the Zyra when she gets an uninterrupted start, as Gemini has. Decent trade for Team Bliss after getting level 2 first. Is going to get the potion out of Kaiwing.
Definitely up in CS here is Violet, and he was last game as well, so it is a good start. Obviously, there's one of the most massive minion waves I've ever seen crashing slowly into Frank's tower. As there you are, versus Cassante.
Yeah, suffering in this matchup. Will Biopanther be for the entire game, really? Maybe spiking when he gets Kanik, if he can keep up in the meantime.
Yeah, the problem is he gets Kanik, and not too long after, Yijiang will be able to pick up, be it Nash's Tooth or Riftmaker. I'm not entirely sure on the Gwen build right now.
Yeah, probably varies game to game. We'll see what he goes for. Looks like Team Bliss are grouped up in the river to make sure their jungler can get this crab. Gemini wisely deciding to not fight the Leona Ashe at this point in the game and just go for the top crab.
Oh.
Nice E for Jiang. Makes sure that he can connect with the rest of his snip. So, yeah, it's an atrocious matchup for the Cassante, but
as are many. Does suffer a lot in the early stages of the game, but obviously his team fighting is, you don't pick him for lane, basically.
Yeah, so many counters. This champ is so figured out at this point. Pretty much every top laner you go up against is going to have their preferred counter. Jiang, not a big fan of the Gnar, so decides to go for the Gwen.
I've also noticed that too, but I think this might even be our first Gwen this split.
Yeah, I think it is. So Frank have the shove back into Team Bliss now. And Wako, honestly, CSing pretty impressively. Not easy under the tower as Jhin. When a massive wave crashes like Team Bliss did early game.
Yeah, definitely down a couple. So once again, Team Bliss are getting the better end of the spot lane. And they did last game too. For the most part, obviously. Again, how many times we need to say it, but the score Wako finished with was a little bit deceptive.
Yeah.
Trade's going down there. Nice sidestep from Amadoric, and he's landing a lot of damage. Violet, he has access to both those summoners, and Kaiwing, he's going to flash away, but he's going to go down, and it's just going to be that 2v2 kill. Violet picking up the successful kill. What can Wako do to trade back as Gemini gets here? Cleanse is going to be taken out and he does get slowed up. And Wako's going aggressive. One more auto attack will do it. No, just the bouncing grenade. One more auto on Aladoric, but he's not able to find it. And Kevy's here in time. This aftershock keeping Aladoric alive eventually will be found by Gemini, who is trying, as he might, to run away. Let's see if Harry can come down and impact this play as Gemini is just waltzing into the jungle. One more snare and maybe he can look for the execute. Dodges out of that Q. Doesn't have flash. This is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Kevy will be able to pick up that kill. And ultimately, it's a 3-for-2, 2v2 kill even in favor here of Team Bliss as they look to fight back in game number 2.
Yeah, well played by Team Bliss's bot lane, giving them a window into this game. Kevy is going to be massive in this game. No flashes up for 3 members of the side of Frank, especially these immobile champions in the... Aladoric is running at Jimmy, but should just zone him away.
Coming here now, we'll even up the playing field. Oh, Xenoblade connects there, but it's a really nice buffer of that crash down and gets himself completely out to safety.
Yeah, Harry managing this lane very well. Finds himself up HP. Kevy is in the mid lane.
Wako's here.
So is Wako. So it's looking like a Void Grub fight.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy has to recall. He's out of mana. I mean, Harry's out of mana too. Jim and I are going to be content with just that one. Honestly, there's no trade on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and if you're Kevy, I think you are trying to get level 6 and running.
There he is.
Yeah, there is his level 6. Run straight to bot lane now if you're this Diana. There's a flashless Jhin on the enemy team. Wherever Wako decides to hide on the map, he should not be safe from Kevy.
Yeah, and no cleanse as well, so Enchanted Crystal Arrow will be available shortly as soon as Violet hits level 6 here on the Ashe, and should be a bit of suffering. Needlework coming through there from Yijang, and nothing really but a sizable chunk there onto Biopanther's health, and he should be completely fine. With no needlework, no real kill threat. Kevy trying to take away this red buff won't be able to do so. In fact, Stranglethorns come through, and he doesn't have flash as well. Jimmy and Culling, see if he's able to find something here. It looks like he missed the Q, so he's not even going to be able to get to that red buff, and Jimmy will be able to pick himself up a kill here. Levels out the playing field, although there was a kill elsewhere on the map. Wako's dead.
Yeah, Wako still just goes down to the bot lane in the 2v2, which...
Yeah, level 6.
Yeah, which makes this topside invade so puzzling, as we're going to see a replay of Wako going down here. Just going to be Violet arrowing him, I imagine. Kaiwing not able to block that one in time and maybe buffer out, and that is just a free kill. Unfortunately, goes to Aladoric. A lot of follow-up damage that you can't really control on the Leona. Can swipe away these kills. 20 CS lead for Violet, and it's just such a puzzling topside invade from Kevy when his bot lane is so strong and his top laner is so weak.
Yeah, now Harry's having a good time though with Jimmy and having to go and put the extra resources into trying to take out that Diana. Obviously, he will benefit from it now that he gets this recall off, but Harry as well, just the meanwhile, while not having a kill, has picked himself up one of those plates and is getting himself some free farm now. Yeah,
meanwhile, completely in isolation, it looks like Zhang has just picked up a 20 CS lead for himself.
Yeah. Pretty hard to navigate this lane as that Cassante, as we've said.
Some MR picked up for Biopanther now.
Now, I think Violet has to be a little careful this game, right? Because, again, as we said, like it's hard for Gwen to find as much impact in a team fight as the Cassante, but it is just a mobile AD carry up against a Gwen. So if Gwen, if Yijang finds a nice teleport or somehow manages to get his way behind Violet, Violet can be taken out very, very quickly.
Yeah, Violet playing very aggressively here, has to be careful. And this should just be so obvious for Team Bliss.
Yeah, Kaiwing walking up. I mean, Enchanted Crystal Arrow very soon will be available. But Gemini going to show his hand and get spotted out there in that bush.
Yeah, Flash is going to be up for Wako now, so Kevy doesn't get a window with this Rocket Belt to punish the Jhin. Leandri's picked up for Gemini now to even up the jungle items. So...
I think it's Riftmaker, by the way, this game. Looks like it for Yijang.
I like that.
Yeah. Gives him a bit of extra tankiness stats, as well as, like, you don't really lose out on much damage.
Yeah, maybe less just straight up DPS if you're AFK hitting compared to the Nashers, but...
Oh, Harry trading perfectly at his max auto attack range there as the Corki.
Yeah, he's been quite impressive on this Corki in this lane overall. Jimmy and no slouch on the Lucian.
Jimmy now starting up this dragon and looks to put another one on the board for Team Bliss. And I don't want to speak too soon and curse it, but we are up 700 gold here on Bliss. It would be the first time that they do finish that 14-minute mark up in gold. Already having beaten Frank twice in game despite being down so much. And if you are able to start up ahead, then you have to feel pretty confident.
Yeah, you'd have to think they're just favored if they can get to 15 minutes, not down an absurd amount of gold when they're capable of winning. Dodged on the Ash Arrow. Swifties and Fleet Footwork make that a pretty easy dodge for Wako. As you were probably just fishing for his cleanse if you're Violet.
Yeah. And ultimately, Ash ult is a ridiculously short cooldown, and so you're not going to be losing it or missing it that much as maybe you would for this Void Grub fight that is likely to happen. Flash forward, LOL-APAC finds his way onto Gemini. He does get over the wall, but the Solar Flare comes through, and it's a nice Magnet Storm there out of Kaiwing, but Kiwi comes through. It is a kill, traded back, 1-for-1, Kaiwing and Jimmy versus Hayri and LOL-APAC. That mid and support duo coming through, and it's a fairly even trade, all things considered. And honestly, even in sums.
Yeah, and that is exactly what you want to be doing on the Leona. It takes an extremely heroic play from Kaiwing to interrupt Kevi on the Diana mid-dash so he doesn't make it over the wall into the Zyra to even make that a 1-for-1.
Vilepanther teleported back to his top lane and finds himself up health. Not sure when Jiang uses teleport.
Yeah, so this is exactly how you want to play Leona into these champs. But look at Kaiwing here onto Kevi. Insane interrupt. Interrupts both these carries from falling up onto the Zyra, who should just die in the CC of the Leona. But gets all his spells off and makes that a 1-for-1.
And now 2-0 is Jimmy in here on the Lucian. But no, it's not all that bad for Team Bliss. They are up in gold. They are up in kills. And a lot of that gold focused onto the Diana. Maybe you'd want some on the Corki, but it is still a winning bot lane, especially once Violet can join the fray and look for fights. Although, talking about Violet, he's going to have to flash away there from Kaiwing. Big Summoner spell to be missing, but it is going to be Kevi capitalizing on this top side. Oh my god! And Biopanther, you absolute beast! He's just solo killed out Yijang. And frustration there, you can see it in the player cam for Yijang.
With nothing but a Negatron cloak to his name, how has he done that? Not even used his flash bio as Harry's getting aggressive onto Jimmy.
Now, Jimmy has flash, but he is taking in a lot of damage. Kevi, proto-bout, going to get that movement speed available to himself, but not quite going to get in range.
Let's see what happened here as Bio has somehow found himself up so much HP. Both TPs used already, and is it just a cheeky Q3?
Yeah. Oh, he manages to get just in that shroud.
Yeah, knowing his range a little better than Jiang does.
Jiang with flash as well.
Oh, just barely gets him. Well played by Biopanther. What a bounce back.
Damn. Happiness. A lot of happiness over there.
Yes, they should be. This guy's a beast. Jiang, not someone we see lose lane pretty much ever.
Yeah. Now, this is going to be going down. Finds himself still up in CS, but this is a lane that he should be getting more and more ahead of as the game progresses. But Biopanther pretty much shutting that down entirely, and now finds himself actually ahead almost certainly of this Gwen. Yes, he doesn't have that full item, whereas Yijang does, but that is because he stopped for those Merc Treads early on. Now, all things said and done, you know, yes, he found that, and it's going to be very helpful for himself. It's not going to help him later on in that side lane. It is still going to be very much Gwen favored.
No,
this just means he's going to be even stronger when it comes to the team fight stage.
Yeah, it's just going to help him out in these fights, and he needs a lot of gold on this Cassante because you've got 2 physical and 2 magic damage carries on the side of Frank, so Biopanther needs endless items. Doesn't go for the Rooker. And
goes for the Nature's Grass. I mean, not the Nature's Grass, the Force of Nature, which actually has the highest amount of magic resist as an item. Obviously, it requires a bit of stacking up. You're getting hit or landing CC, but it's going to be pretty easy in these team fights for that to stack fully up, and you get the full value out of that. Yeah, as well as the movement speed.
Zyra on the enemy team just stacks this thing pretty much instantly for you, probably. Nice build. We'll see how it works out for Bio on this Cassante. Yeah, like you said, Bio's never going to just walk back to this lane and kill the Gwen, ever. Rift Herald started up by Kevi.
Yeah, Bliss getting everything.
Gemini's actually going for Harry in the top lane. I don't think they know he's snuck in here.
Ooh, okay.
Nice foul.
Now he has to be careful. When Chakra Crystal Arrow, Solar Flare lands, everything's landing, and Gemini can't even get an ability off. Absolutely not. Great chaining of that CC. It was a lot of ults, though. That is the Leona. Out of ult. Here comes the needlework, and they are managing to find their way in, and Jiang's just ignoring the fact there's a Kevi on him, and just going forward. The needlework Violet's going to go down. They're not going to find anything else. It's actually a 1-for-1, all things considered, as Kevi's able to pick up that kill there onto that Gwen. Curtain call going wide for Wako.
Yeah.
And Team Bliss, they're looking good.
Yeah, Violet finds himself a bit out of position there and gets taken out by Jimian, who you do have to worry a little bit about on this Lucian now. BF Sword and a Blade of the Ruined King for him, 3-0 now. Is a champion we've seen take over games. So that is your big stress point, I think, if you're Team Bliss, but otherwise you're feeling pretty good about how this game is going.
Yeah, absolutely. Up gold. They did manage to get past that 14-minute mark. Up gold as well. So
this is the first time in this entire tournament.
Yep.
As, yeah, Gemini sneaks in here, but what a reaction from Harry.
And then just how easy is it from here?
Yep.
No flash on that Zyra. Simple as can be.
Yeah, Eldoric is piloting this Leona exactly as you need to, and Biopanther's got a ridiculous flank onto Jiang here. Can't quite ult him into his team, but yeah, Kaiwing does such a good job of splitting Harry and Violet away from their front line here. And Violet finds himself no dash to get over that wall like Harry did, so just goes down to Jimian.
Yeah, 3-0 is Jimian now on this Lucian. Was the carry, at least in our eyes, in game number 1, and now if they want to get into that final position, you know, into that best of 5 tomorrow, it's really looking like it's going to have to be him, sorry, to get that done.
Yeah, at least in this game, I don't see anyone else who can get this across the line. Jiang is 0-2-1 on this Gwen now. And this is not really a game that I think Wako is going to carry on the Jhin either. Rift Herald wasn't picked up initially, so it's now going to be traded along with a tower for this dragon. This is a great trade for Bliss, as yeah, Jiang just has to sit here and watch.
Well, we'll be just spectating there in that little corner chair you find in the hotel rooms. Bottom tower will be taken out.
Yeah, so much gold. More gold onto Jimmy and Gemini.
Yeah, again, look at Gemini. Here comes everything, but the Enchanted Crusader will go wide, and now it's a re-engage coming through for the side of Frank, but Kaiwing maybe ill-advised, and there it comes! Kevy's going insane here, but not with the damage. It's Jiang now in the back line. This Needlework's coming through, and that's so much damage. What can Biopanther do? He ults this Gwen into the Diana, but ultimately gets back on it, and Jimmy on the backside is Biopanther and Jimmy on each side of the team fights are going wild. Curtain call, that's a very, very dead Cassante. It's Jimmy half HP, Kevy half HP, and everyone really half HP except for Wako. It is just going to be that 1 for 2, and somehow Frank find the turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, that was such an insane Diana ult from Kevy, and then the damage just wasn't there. It did 0 damage, and it kind of stopped them in their tracks on the side of Team Bliss.
Yeah, that's the mid lane tower going on. I mean, I have to look at the replay, but I think Eldoric just a little bit ahead of his team. Wasn't quite able to chain the CC, so the flash does come out.
Look at Kaiwing just zoning Kevy off of the Zyra the entire time as well, and this fight still looks okay because Eldoric is not that squishy, so he survives for so long. Jiang gets in here and lands pretty scary.
We didn't even get to see this, the culling.
Yeah, Jimian just finds the backline of Team Bliss as well, and has just found himself so much gold in this game. And a nice ulti from Wako to zone Biopanther back into his team. But the rest of Team Bliss do manage to get out, and they lose 1 extra member. But not too disastrous at the end of the day.
Yeah, Yijang now 0-3-2. This is awfully remnant. Things are shaping up near on the exact same as the first series we had. Gold exactly even. Nothing separating these teams at the moment. Dragons are even. Baron spawning in 1 minute. Both teams will take that out in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, the advantage, I think, for Frank is that they've got this really fed Lucian to play around, whereas there's no counterpart until Harry finishes his 2 items.
And mid lane tower.
Yeah, massive pickup for Team Bliss. Now, 1 mid lane tower apiece.
Jiang, he's roaming up from the bot side. Keep an eye on him. Can be instrumental, obviously having a quiet one yet again here in this game, but certainly as the game scales, this Gwen can become very, very scary. I think good by Team Bliss to recognize we don't want the Cassante matching the Gwen, and so having Harry pretty consistently in the same lane as Yijang, meaning, you know, Yijang can't really find any access onto this Corki without Harry making a huge mistake.
Yeah, especially with these Gwens taking Flash now over Ghost. Just no way to kill this Corki, even if you find them out of position. Way too difficult to catch this champion. Now, Violet gets his 2 item spike, and this is a massive spike for Harry, just picked up. He's on his way to the bot lane, doesn't have TP for a bit, so you got to relax for a second if you're Team Bliss. But he does win in the side lane against the Gwen.
Yeah, Yijang thinking there's a ward around. There actually wasn't. It was just some smart play by Harry to realize there could be someone waiting in that forest.
Yeah, Kevy picks up the Zhonya's for himself now. Is solo AP, so it doesn't feel that great to go for a Zhonya's, but kind of just needs it on this champion.
LOL-APAC. Fast feet. Fast hands.
Yeah.
Fast everything. Just able to dodge pretty much every skill shot I've seen thus far. And Gianna Cristiano coming out. Jimmy in! Oh, it wasn't actually going to hit him, but I would also jump scare right there.
Yeah. He's on his way to his, halfway to his third item now, Jimmy, and this would be a massive shutdown to get on. The good thing about this Team Bliss comp, any champion but Leona getting this shutdown is massive.
Yeah. Nearly at that Black Cleaver. It becomes much harder to deal with the Lucian. I mean, just the ability haste as well as the additional HP makes him so much more durable.
Yeah, and I think Team Bliss trying to read the swap coming out. As both of their solo laners have TP on either side. 20 seconds on this dragon now.
Yeah, and I wonder if Frank even want to contest, right? We have a Gwen that's getting close to having that Nash's, and massive spike for that champion. Whereas you look at the other side, and as you said, Cork get the 2 items. We have the Diana and also the Ashe, all of the 2 items spike. Now, on the other side, I guess, Frank, yeah, they have the advantage in terms of the support. Warmog's passive will be active for Kaiwing, and I guess Jimmy is just this most fed member of on the Rift.
So, yeah, this looks like Frank do want to fight this. It could be very risky for them. Kevy a little bit chunked now, but...
Frank starting it up, and Wako, he has to be so careful. He has both sums. Everyone has sums available to themselves, as Kevy will be found out by Yi Zhang. There will be no surprises from this Diana as well as the Gwen, but Dragon is just gone. Frank have managed to, and largely in part thanks to the plants going up from Gemini, managed to defend this Dragon and take it for themselves. Now Team Bliss, they're pivoting around this Baron. I said maybe just for the vision, but if they do start to hit it, it will go down very, very quickly.
Yeah, nice ward in an awkward spot from Frank. Actually just spots them on their way to the Baron. And no Baron start from Team Bliss. No rush to start that Baron. I'm surprised they didn't pull the trigger with how much engage they do have and this massive Corky spike. But
LOL-APAC going aggressive. He finds his way to Jimmy, but it ends up hitting onto Kaiwing, and now he might be in a rough position as he's stunned up, and Leona's just going to go down. I think this is the second time now from LOL-APAC. We've just seen him overextend, not in tandem with his AD carry and the rest of his team, and unfortunately he just gets picked out.
Yeah, and maybe that engage can work, but it was just too scuffed onto Gemini, so the team decides to let him go. I think that's the correct decision. You're not going to lose much, but maybe some vision around this Baron while Leona's down. And Jiang is actually getting walked off these waves by Bio for now.
Yeah, I think he desperately needs this Nash's online before he can really do anything. Obviously, that kill and the impact that BioPanther's had in these team fights.
Yeah,
picking up assists and actually evening up that CS difference a lot.
Has allowed him to just build a full armor item without having to worry about losing in the side lane. That buys a lot of time for Team Bliss. Kevy is here, and you know exactly who they're targeting. Bio has
looking at Jimmy, and he's flashed over, though, and he's dodged out of that queue, and maybe he's found his way away, but the flash forward for Kevy, and Jimmy, and now he's the one in a rough position, but somehow gets that relentless pursuit back up, and he's living, but now he goes down. Harry picks up that shutdown, 750 gold. I believe I just saw Kevy, no ultimate now, and no flash on this Corky. Are Team Bliss actually going to be able to pick this one up? It's definitely going to be risky.
The CP, he is going to try take this tier 2, though.
He's taking this tier 2. We'll be able to get that completely happily as he does now teleport in. What can we do? Gemini, he's been an absolute thief when it comes to these objectives, and I think Team Bliss realizing that. Just backing off. BioPanther flashing forward, and he misses. But Kaiwing finds the 5-man on the back. The all-out comes through, and Gemini is in a rough position, but on the other side, Wako picks up 1 kill. BioPanther not quite able to land those double strikes. It's Jiang trying to go nuclear. It's Wako with a double. It's BioPanther with a kill over onto Gemini. Now Wako with it all to do. He's got a lot of movement speed, but BioPanther has a lot of armor. The Q3, but the instant flash away, the cleanse comes through, and Wako, he will be going down, but have Frank bought enough time? Jimmyan respawns, he's back at the play.
Yeah, it's only Jimmyan to defend this Baron. He could maybe try steal it or get some damage onto Violet here to stop it. I wonder if Bliss will go for it. Harry's going to get a chunk on him here.
Gets a chunk, but it's not all that impactful, as Jimmyan will be able to just lifesteal back up these Raptors. 4 seconds on the spawn of Kevy. It is Team Bliss starting up this Baron. Violet is very, very low, and Kaiwing's making his way back to the pit with Hex Flash available. He can get over to them in that Baron pit. We'll see what Team Bliss are able to do here. We'll see what Frank are able to do here. But it looks like Team Bliss should have hit the macro outplay and should be able to pick up this Baron. Biopanther has to be careful, though. He's very, very low.
Kevy is almost here. They should just wait for Kevy to come and smite this, and it's their Baron, and they can easily get out. They have plenty of time.
There we go. Yep. Kevy picking up Baron for Team Bliss. They're ahead now to almost 3k gold, and Hayri is in a very dominant position.
Yeah, and here it's just a 4v5. Literally every ounce of gold is on the Lucian here, so Team Bliss, it looks scary for a second because you've got a Zyra harassing you while you're trying to do this, but Bio is so tanky and able to just zone Gemini out of this entire fight. And Kylie lands this insane engage, and Gemini actually flashes over the wall to try follow up, ends up ulting thin air on the Zyra. As I think this was the least interesting part of the fight as we follow Biopanther chase Gemini around, and nice chase onto Wako too. Violet ends up flashing on top of him. As Wako probably had to flash this Q3. Maybe just egoing it a bit, and then the slow from Violet, once that connects, kind of latched onto your target as the Ashe.
Oh, Skywalker not even watching the screen, and Pretender doing the little circles, spin. Doing a twirl.
Wako doing so much damage in that fight. Had to without Jimmy in there.
Far and beyond the most in his team, but yeah, Jimmy in 5-1 now. Was just absent, noticeably absent after getting caught out in that top wave. Now it's Team Bliss with autonomy over the map. They're working on it, this mid lane in the tower.
Yeah, and impressive from Team Bliss, the way they've played the last few minutes of this game. It felt like they just put a target on Jimmy's head and just ran at him with all their members anywhere they saw him on the map. They eventually shut him down. Not only do they get the massive shutdown, but they recognize they can start hitting Baron because he's all of the money on this team. Wako does the best he can with the resources he has, but he's not a 5-0 Lucian. Yeah,
3-3 though. He picked up a lot of kills for himself in that play as Jimmyan siphoning off some of this farm up on the top side away from Yi Jung. And I think next item breakpoint, Frank, just give over this dragon. It's not that impactful in terms of the game. Game probably not going to Soul anyway. Wait for the Infinity Edge. As I say that, Wako actually did recall and pick up that Infinity Edge. So now, I mean, Frank, they are behind in gold, but it feels like a lot of this gold is just in that jungle, and Zyra probably functions a little better without the items, whereas Diana, you know, she has to get stuck in.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I don't know if I agree with the Rift Maker from Kevy, but should do the trick. I think Team Bliss are in a very commanding spot. I think they're delaying this dragon maybe a little longer than they could, but cleaning up all the tier 2s is a massive injection of gold.
Making use of the Baron, importantly. But Yi Jung, I mean, he's on the top side, and Biopanther not here. There's 2 towers taken from Jung on the opposite side of the map, so the dragon trade not looking so bad for Jung, considering they're the ones that are against that Baron buff. There he is, second dragon of the game. The Mountain Dragon picked up. Climbing's going to stop the base. Oh!
Kevy can't get over this wall. Luckily, no one from Frank showed up to help out Kaiwing. As he's just going to be here to get some maybe flank wards that are unlikely to be relevant anytime soon. And
Haley,
now
3 items.
Yeah, massive on this Corki, and only getting bigger once he gets this Infinity Edge completed. As he has officially outscaled the Lucian. He will be much more relevant than the Lucian for the rest of the game, and it felt like, honestly, Jimmyan died once, did all that he could to really escape that play. I don't know if you remember, but he got a lot of gap between him and the enemy team, but eventually they did take him down. And died once, lose the game.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you are just every piece of gold that your team has picked up, right? But now, importantly, for their side, Wako did pick up a bunch of kills in that last fight. So he does find himself at 3 items, on par with the Ashe out of Violet.
Yeah, this is an unusual Ashe build as well, I think. I don't think we see IE come out on the Ashes very often.
Yeah, not too often. Now, Baron obviously absent from either of these teams, so there's not really any threat on the bases. There's Jimmyan, once again, mopping up some farm. We're really putting all the eggs in the Jimmyan basket here, huh, fellas?
Yeah, well, I think they just already are. I don't know if Jung is ever going to be relevant this game. He's working on his Void Staff now.
Well, he's definitely been relevant in those side lanes, right? He's taken 4 towers. Yeah. And this is going to be the problem. This is the only thing that Bliss have to navigate, really, because it feels like their team fight will just be stronger. They just have a stronger team fight. As long as they don't miss this execute, they'll probably be winning. But who is going to be able to match this Gwen? Because you need Corki to be there poking. Otherwise, if it just comes, there's been no poke happen. The Lucian is probably similar in terms of strength to the Corki. But in saying that, 4 items now for Harry as he picks up his Infinity Edge.
Yeah, this Team Bliss frontline, actually with this Diana going for a very tanky build, is looking quite intimidating. Maybe difficult for Jhin and Lucian to get through.
Yeah, Wako trying to work towards what will almost certainly be a LDR.
Aladoric.
Chana Cristo lands there onto Gemini. He's going to go down. Yep. Just one shot. Now it's going to be 4v5 for a long, long time. And Team Bliss, I mean, they lost their engage tools. They lost those stuns. But they can just go wherever they want. This is going to stop Yi Zhang from really doing anything on the map. And ultimately, Gemini's going to be spawning at about the same time as this Baron, so Frank cannot get any vision control.
Yeah, they'll have no vision control. I wonder if Team Bliss just hit this on spawn. I think they maybe consider it, as they've not thoroughly swept the jungle here. So this is going to amount to very little.
Wako has to be careful.
Sieging mid.
No one can die. If anyone on Frank Esports die, that is going to be game number 2, all done and dusted. And Team Bliss, they are not afraid to capitalize. A nice Q lands onto Wako, but he is keeping enough distance to not really be all that threatened. Harry picks himself up in an inhibitor tower. Will Valkyrie away from that deadly flourish.
Yep. These sneaky wards from Kaiwing are actually getting so much value, and Team Bliss are going to hit this Baron on spawn. I think that is wise. Gemini is legging it here, but they have so little vision.
Kaiwing's going to be able to get vision in this pit. Now maybe this Baron goes down, and in fact it certainly will, as it's at 4k HP, and Biopanther's outside the pit. Now Jiang looking for Biopanther. It's just a clean Baron. Needlework maybe coming out, and Wako actually, maybe a miscommunication as Yi Zhang backs away from that Cassante as Wako uses ult on it.
Yeah, that's the second Baron for Team Bliss now, and any hope of this Gwen achieving something in the side lane is just gone to the wayside now. As Biopanther can just match him if he wants to, or straight up group with his team. Should try get 2 lanes in if you can, if you're Team Bliss.
JV on the split push.
Yep, nice. Being disciplined and controlling the wave rather than just
smashing
it. Yeah, waiting for, making sure his team is in position, making sure his team gets this mid wave too.
Now Gemini, he has flash. He didn't use it in that last fight. Aladoric, oh my god, the amount of volume. Yeah, they've got so much value, but we found our way in. Violet going to flash away. He might just have to cleanse, and teleports are coming through, but Aladoric might just go down first. No, he will not. It's Kaiwing. Jiang able to get away, but he flashes into that arrow, and a double kill for Harry. 3v5, and look at this menacing Cassante. The world on his shoulders, just marching these minions in. How will Frank defend? It's Team Bliss with all the momentum here in game number 2.
Yes, someone's going to have to do something heroic on the side of Frank if they're going to defend this game. Gemini, no ulti, no flash.
There's no Stranglethorns. It's the 280 carries and that AP jungler. Flash away from Wako. Does get away from the Zenith Blade, but Biopanther's tanking and everything. Nexus Tower number 2 will go down. Harry's flashing in, and Jimmy and Charizimai will not be able to defend, and Oceania will not be silenced.
Yeah, and it's off the back of kind of everyone on the side of Team Bliss just playing a really good game. Nothing to fault them for, really. Biopanther miraculously turns his lane around and, I mean, outclasses Jiang for that entire game. Really has so much more impact. Jiang manages to take some side lane towers, but what's all that gold for if you don't have any impact on the game with it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you look at this game too and you think back to their last series, and it was Yi Zhang having some very uncharacteristic mistakes, right? He died in lane as Gwen to Cassante. It can happen, but it should not be happening. And then even in that last fight, just these level of players should not be flashing in a straight line when an Ash arrow is beelining it to them, right? These should be just, we'll flash to the side, and maybe he still goes down.